Hi, my name is Mark Biernot, and I'm an economist. In this video, I want to talk about Russia and its corruption. How big is Russian corruption? How big is it compared to other countries like the United States or Ukraine? And what is this relevant for the world today? What is the relevance of Russian corruption today? And what I want to tell you is, first, I want to tell you economically, it's 141 out of 180 countries, so it's pretty corrupt. But I really want to tell you a story. Here I've got my passport, okay? U.S. passport, I've got other passports, but here's a passport. And the last time I was in Russia, and it was before this whole geopolitical event, they probably wouldn't have let me in Russia today. And in fact, I'm sure of it. I was stopped by the police, and, most people would have panicked and I know Russia. I've been there. I know. I lived in Eastern Europe much of my life. What did I do? I handed them the passport, okay? And he opened it up, and he said, "Что это? What is this?" Because there was $20 in here, as you can see. And he didn't say anything. He just looked at me. I said, it's a donation to your family, okay? Who doesn't accept a donation to their family? Here's $20. I didn't say that. I just said, it's a donation to your family. He took it, gave me back my passport. He went back that way. I went back this way. We didn't look back, never said a word. We were just cool about it. Because I've lived in Eastern Europe. I know how it is. This Russia is corrupt from A to Z, from the top to the bottom. And Dionysius, 353 BCE, he said, small leaks sink big ships. That is Russia. Let me tell you another story. There's they call it a Russian author, but it's really a Ukrainian author, okay, of Russian literature, Cossack origin, Nikolai Gogol, right? He wrote this book, Dead Souls, and it was about this guy, Pavel Chichichev, and he was collecting these dead souls, these people who had passed away, still in the tax, ledger, and he was buying them for superficial, like, prestige, and maybe he could leverage it a little bit. So this guy was doing something clever. This was in 1853. It's still the same back then. He was collecting these serfs. My grandparents were from the 1800s in this part of the world, and they escaped. So my point is, it's in the literature going back 100, 200 years. It's in my personal experience. Why do I need a transparency.org index for me to tell you it's corrupt? What does corruption do? It brings misallocation of resources, a brain drain, a disincentive for entrepreneurs, high prices, low quality. It blocks foreign investment, okay? It does a lot of things that have damage to the economy. If Russia is 141, and depending on the day you look on the transparency.org index, and the year, it's getting worse, it's right up there with Somalia and Venezuela and Syria and North Korea. People make claims that, they have low debt. First of all, I don't know if they have low debt. The debt to GDP ratio is a drag on the economy, but corruption is eons more. They could have an equivalent debt if everything else, ceteris paribus, is equal, $500 trillion, the Russians. If you understand what I mean, if I run a regression, don't quote me on that. I'd have to run the regression, but it's such a drag on the economy. Corruption is from A to Z. If you're a student, you want to pass your exam, you bribe your professor. If you need, there's a long waiting line, you need to go to the medical doctor, you bribe your doctor. Doctors won't see you unless you take additional bribes. The whole thing becomes a shadow economy, a black market. And it's a huge drag and misallocation of resources. Yes, Ukraine has corruption, but it's somewhere in the middle of this list. It's getting higher. I think last year it was slightly below, and this year looks to be slightly better. So it's not bad. It's up there with developed countries. I've experienced corruption in the United States. We're number 24. The countries that don't have corruption or low corruption are like Denmark, Finland, Sweden, the usual suspects. So there's a correlation, even to the freedom index, but the corruption index, between corruption and real economy. Everything in Russia is fake. It's a fake economy. It's bribes. That means Russia cannot sustain itself. That's what happened in the Soviet Union. It cannot sustain itself. It's bluffing. Russia is bluffing. It's a corrupt society because corruption comes from the mind. It comes from the spirit. And you know, the Russian soul, I've talked about this, it's been corrupted. It's all superficial. Everybody wants to, go to the West to take an Instagram in front of the Eiffel Tower, have their kids go clubbing in London. It's not a legitimate, authentic human beings living there with aspirations. Everybody's claiming, oh, we're little people. And at most they could boast we have a little apartment with a little car. That's, if you're lucky, in Moscow. It's a disaster, this corruption. And I want to make the world a better place. The way you make the world a better place is have transparent democracies. Get rid of this corruption, this top-down centralization of power. Ukraine's trying to do that, trying to do the whole world a favor, trying to do the Russians a favor by doing that. And I'm telling them, stand strong, because I know it's dark times now. But based on strictly the corruption index, the Russian economy is like the ancient Russian literature, or a classical Russian literature novel, Dead Souls. It's a dead economy, and you're going to see a collapse. Just based strictly on corruption again. And remember my story, a donation to your family. You want to make a donation to your family. Who wouldn't accept that? My name is Mark Biernat. I'm a monetary economist. Have a great day. Thank you very much.